Seam allowances are very important for every project. Look at your pattern and see what the seam allowance is for what before you start. So depending on if you're a 1/4 inch, 5/8, 1/2 inch, you've got inches up front and metric back here, depending on how your pattern is written. And then you're just gonna bring the fabric up to the line and follow it down as you sew. Now here's a little note. I mentioned there's a 1/4 inch mark. It's not marked with the number. It is a very short mark right at the front of the opening where the feed dog is. So if you're doing piecing for quilts, you might like to run your fabric right on the inside. This is how I like to do it, right on the inside of that line, and you can get that exact scant 1/4 inch they always talk about. Now eventually you find yourself probably using and needing a seam allowance much bigger than the lines on your throat plate. And that is where the seam guide can come in, but we've talked about that can hook onto the table front. But you also have a seam guide in your accessory box. What you want to do is take off the foot, look on the back of the foot. Now, every so often people will find this screw running around their accessory box. The very first time you loosen it, you may need the screwdriver because it's been factory tightened. So go ahead and loosen that up. And then what you can do is you can slip the seam guide in here and set it for any measurement. So if you need it set for 2 inches, go ahead and set that up, measure it out, tighten it down. I do like to actually even give that a little tighten with the screwdriver and then put it back on the machine. Now watch how this is going to work. Now, when you put your fabric up, and then you can kind of tilt that down there, you can run your fabric right along this guide and it will help perfectly keep everything going as it needs to be. This is also great for youngsters learning how to sew. You can kind of put this little bar here and that will help them keep going straight. I've also been known to loosen this up and put it right next to the presser foot, if that was the seam allowance that I would need. And then once again, you can just follow along and that really helps keep your eye on something and your fabric not slipping out past the edge of your foot.